Hey everyone, it's Jack here, TalkNorwichCity. Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all doing very well indeed. We have got a lot to catch up on. A lot indeed. So much is continuing to happen at Norwich City Football Club. It's tough to keep up, but we're trying to here on TNC. I just wanted to say a massive thank you as always for your continued support. We're really trying to bring you some of the best content out there in the Norwich City scene at the moment. I hope that we're doing so. You'll see on screen we've invested in some new fancy kit that hopefully makes the videos look and sound a little bit better. And Norwich City are continuing to invest in their squad as well, which is incredibly exciting. Pape Diallo, the latest to be linked with the Canaries. It comes off the back of Borja Science's move to Porto being completed. That deal, £14.5 million. Maybe rising above that. Norwich City have a release clause, not a release clause, a sell-on clause in that contract, as is pretty standard nowadays. I think it's rumoured to be up to about 20%. It could fall to 10% if a couple of things fall in a certain way, but £14.5 million for a player with a year left on their contract feels like a pretty good deal for Norwich City. We've discussed Borja Science in another video, but I did just want to say a massive thank you to Borja Science for what was a really memorable period at Norwich City for him, and watching Borja Science, for 3-4 months in the Championship last season. He was the player that everyone was talking about. He was the man in that division, and rarely does that happen for Norwich City, where all the talk, all the headlines are about one player at our football club, and that was the case with Borja Science. He was fantastic for portions. He was less than ideal in some, but on the whole, he was a fantastically talented player that I feel very lucky to have watched at Norwich City. We picked him up for a free. We sold him for close to £15 million. He goes on to get a big move to a big European club. I think everyone wins in that situation. So good luck to Borja Science out in Portugal. But Pape Diallo looks to be the man that Norwich City want as his direct replacement. 21-year-old Senegalese international, currently at Metz out in France. Will be playing next season in Ligue 1. And a really interesting kind of player, this one. Now, Watford have had a bid accepted. That bid rumoured to be £4.3 million for Pape Diallo, and seemingly Norwich City at the moment are just looking at all the players that have had bids accepted at clubs and gone, we'll have them instead. We will come in and find a way to bring that player in. They've done it very recently with Matthias Christgorm, and potentially here with Pape Diallo. Now, he is a winger. Preferred foot is right. He can kind of cut inside from that left-hand side. He usually plays his football out on the left-hand side. He had a very good season. Last time out, I think he scored 6 or 7 goals and 5 assists in 30-odd games. Has scored a couple of goals for Senegal. And he's clearly highly rated. He has progressed pretty quickly. He's, as I say, still 21 years old. Probably on the lower side in terms of age kind of profile that Norwich have gone after so far. It's been more towards the kind of 23, 24, 25, those ages that you would associate with being in their prime. So Diallo's still not the finished product, but on paper a very exciting bit of business. Now, that attacking area is starting to shape up really interestingly. You've obviously got Chris Gorm, however we're pronouncing that. He's exciting. He's young. He's Danish. He's had a really nice career so far. You've got Ante Ciernats, who I'm expecting decent things from this season. You've got Mate Jurisic, who, amongst everything that's happened, Norwich City have already started their pre-season. That got underway against Northampton. Brad Hill's got a scrap with Cam McGeehan. That was a headline I wasn't expecting to say after the first pre-season game, but that happened. And Mate Jurisic scored. He's back. He's fit. It was a slightly quirky goal. I saw the clip for it the other day, and it was, he was kind of played through by Sargent, and seemingly the goalkeeper just went, just disappeared. But good to see Matej Jurisic back in the fold, minutes under his belt. I know that he didn't play too much, but they will be very, very conscious not to rush him back. But I think they will be hoping that he is a key part of this squad this season. You've obviously got the likes of Emanko Forsen and Oscar Schwartau, who will be fighting for potentially the 10, potentially right wing, wherever they deem fit there. You've obviously still got Josh Sargent at the football club. Now, I suspect that he will be gone by the end of the window, but if no one comes calling at the right price, then I don't think Norwich will be afraid to keep him. Burnley and Wolfsburg still the clubs leading that charge for Josh Sargent, and I think they'll want closer to £20 million for him, and I don't think Burnley or Wolfsburg have coughed up that kind of bid so far, so he's still around. So you've suddenly got quite a packed out area in that forward line. Borja is obviously now officially gone, and they want Diallo to be this direct replacement for Borja Science. They see him as a young, upcoming, flourishing winger with the attributes that can fit into this Liam Manning side. Now, we've been pretty busy, right, in the transfer window so far. Most of them have been defensive reinforcements and goalkeeping reinforcements. I think they're fairly comfortable in that department at the moment. They may well want to go in for another left back, but I think at the present time of speaking, in mid-July, they're pretty happy with the defensive area and the goalkeeping area. There will be some departures in terms of the goalkeeping department, but in terms of incomings, that's looking quite nice how that's shaped up. You would think that there will be I think Pele Matson will probably come in as another central defensive midfielder. They might want to sell a couple on. I think there's 9 midfielders at time of recording at the football club, so that's looking quite dense. And I suspect in terms of movement, in terms of incomings and outgoings, it will be that forward area where we see the most change. Now, Watford, as I say, were pretty much looking like they were the team for Pape Diallo this time last week. They'd had the bid accepted, and up until that point, Norwich City hadn't really been linked. This is a player that they've liked for a little while. Watford have come calling. Norwich City now want to convince him that Norwich City are the club to come. Now, this is going to take a little bit of money, as I say, upwards of £4 million, unless Ben Napper and Lee Dunn find some kind of miraculous release clause like they did in Chris Gorm's case. But I think they'll be willing to stump up the cash. What has been obvious so far since Liam Manning's arrival is the board and the Atenasios are more than willing to back Liam Manning here. They are willing to throw money at this. They have got the man that they believe in, and they will be willing to invest heavily in this squad in order to try and get us out of this division into the Premier League. Now, Diallo, he would probably be first choice in terms of left winger, you would assume, based on squad and based on how much they want him. We had also been linked with Yang Hyun-jun from Celtic. That looks to have got a little bit quieter at this stage. There was also a link with Liverpool's Lewis Kumas, but Pape Diallo definitely at this stage the front runner in terms of who Norwich City want to sign. Now, they will have competition, as they will with most of the players they're looking to bring in. This is the profile of player they're looking to bring in their prime or incredibly hot young prospect, and they're wanting to move quickly out of this division. There's no messing around. There's no transition season anymore. They are throwing money at this project and they want it to work. And Pape Diallo is the latest on that production line. This is going to be an interesting one. As I say, a fairly promising few seasons for Diallo out at Metz. They will be playing Ligue 1 football next season. He has scored, just over 10 goals in 50-odd games for their first team, and has started his international duties with Senegal very strongly as well. He scored a couple of goals already for them. So keep this one on your radar. I think this one will move fairly quickly. It just all depends whether they can fend off Watford. And you would say, based on evidence so far with Darling and Chris Gorm, that they will be hopeful that they can convince Pape Diallo. Keep an eye on that. Definitely keep an eye on Pele Matson. I think there'll be some movement on that one in the coming days as well. And also Yang Kyun-jun, who had been linked by Sky Sports from Celtic to Norwich City. I think that would be more of a squad type player than a first team automatic selection at the moment. That has gone a little bit quieter because I think they're confident that they can get Diallo over the line. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of this rumour down in the comment section below, and also let me know what you're thinking about the squad so far. We've obviously seen the first pre-season game against Northampton. We came out victorious in that. No one's seen the full game because it was behind closed doors, but we've started to see how Liam Manning might line up. We've started to hear some comments. I know there's a fan forum at Norwich City with Atanasio, Zoe Webber, Liam Manning, etc. So we'll hear a little bit more from that. But if you're looking at the squad at this current stage, where do you think it needs strengthening? Where do you think we even might need to sell a few just to lighten the load a little bit? Let me know in the comment section below. A massive thank you as always for your fantastic support recently. And I'll see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.